Good morning, teachers, directors, judges, and students. My name is Vuthy Sovanneary. I study at level 5B AM at Elegant International School. Today I'll be telling you a story called Cinderella. There once was a girl named Cinderella. Her mother passed away a long time ago, so her father raised her all alone. One day, when her father remarried, ever since the first day her stepmother met her, she couldn't stand her because of her beauty and kind heart. One day, due to work reasons, her father had to leave for a long work journey. One day, when Cinderella was sitting in the garden talking to her beloved birds, her stepmother approached her and she said, "You'll be living in the attic." Now, she said, Cinderella did not know what to do, so she listened to her stepmother. She went to pack her stuff and moved to the attic. From that day on, Cinderella had to do house chores all by herself. She would often get tired, but her stepmother or her stepsisters felt sorry for her. One day, there was an announcement made in the town. The announcer says, "The prince is looking for a wife. All young ladies come to the palace for the royal ball." When the two stepsisters heard that, they went home and told their stepmother. Then they went out to sew their dresses for the ball. A few days later, their dresses were sold. They would go to the mirror and say that they were going to be the prettiest girl at the ball. The day came. Cinderella was helping her two stepsisters wear their royal gowns. Cinderella really wanted to go too, but she doesn't have the courage to ask. After finishing helping them, Cinderella asked them. She says, "Stepmother, may I go to the ball with you guys?" She said. Her stepmother said, "Honey, they're not looking for a maid. They're looking for a princess that can marry the prince," she says. Then they left without Cinderella. Cinderella was in her room crying. Suddenly, a light appeared, and a fairy appeared and said, "Don't cry, darling. You will be able to go to the ball with them," she said. Cinderella said, how could I go? I don't even have a dress or pretty shoes to wear." She said. The fairy said, "Get me a pumpkin and some mice." Cinderella was confused and why they wanted to have them. But she went to the kitchen to get a pumpkin. Then she went to catch some mice in the garden. With the fairy's magic wand, they went outside. The fairy turned the pumpkin into a carriage. As for the mice, she turned one of them into a driver and the other into beautiful white horses. Then she turned Cinderella's clothes into a beautiful ball gown. And she turned Cinderella's old shoes into glass slippers. The fairy says, "You must come back at midnight, or else the spell will all disappear." Cinderella nodded and went into the carriage to go to the palace. So when she was at the palace, She got out of her carriage and went up the stairs and opened the door. All eyes were on Cinderella. Then her two stepsisters and stepmother spotted her. Of course, they wouldn't recognize Cinderella because of her new gown. When the prince saw her, he went up to her and said, "Will you dance with me?" He said. Cinderella nodded. Then they started dancing. They danced and danced all the way until midnight. Then Cinderella looked at the ticking clock that was almost ticking midnight. When she saw the clock, she let go of the prince and ran down the stairs. Then she tripped and lost one of her shoes. But she was too in a hurry to go and pick it up. She went into her carriage and went home. Then everything turned back to normal. Cinderella was in her room crying and said, "Will I ever meet the prince again?" The prince, when he was running after her, he saw one of her glass slippers and he told his guards to tell everybody in the town to try on the glass slipper. The next day, they went around asking everyone to try on the glass slippers. They went houses to houses until all the way to Cinderella's house. So first stepdaughter tried on the shoe. She was too big her feet were too big to fit the shoe. The second stepsister, the shoe was too small for her. As they were about to leave, Cinderella ran downstairs and called them. "I want to try on the shoe too," she said. Then they let Cinderella try on the shoe, and it fits her like a glove. Then they took Cinderella to the castle, and the prince asked her to marry him, and they lived happily ever after. The end.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, for your story.
Oh my God, so long.
Okay, let me invite Charu. Please raise up any questions. Thank you.
Good, well done. That was a very long story. How long did you practice your story for?
It was only 8 minutes when I practiced.
Oh, good, well done. You kept within that time, well done. And who was your favorite character?
Cinderella.
Mine too. Good girl, well done.